Man, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of EOS 1090J. I'm rocking with y'all like y'all rocking with me, man. I got a crazy story for y'all, right? Going back to Apalachee CI, ACI. Everybody knows about Apalachee. Everybody in the chain gang, everybody from Florida, especially people that live in the panhandle, they all know about this prison. I mean, you can Google Apalachee. Literally, like a week ago, 3 COs just got stabbed. This prison's been off the chain ever since it started. It's one of the oldest prisons in Florida. This story is going to be about a young kid, right? And, this story, what happens in this story, I want y'all to really pay attention to. Because it can happen to anybody, any one of you. It's very easy to become a victim in Florida State Prison because of how the prison system is designed. There's no separation of certain individuals. There's no separation of time. We don't have things like that. Very, very easy for things to happen to you, and it's very easy for you to make a decision that is irreversible, that you can't take back, and you have to accept what comes with it. I never knew this kid personally. I never was introduced to him. I never spoke to him. My first time seeing this kid was in confinement. We were in the confinement dorm in the same wing together. I was in a cell downstairs. He was in a cell upstairs. I never knew nothing about the kid until one day the COs come running in. They cuff him up. They put him in the shower. They call medical in. They call backup in. Emergency response team. Everybody runs in. They take out his bunkie on a stretcher. His bunkie was an old man, like 60s, 70s. He was old. And, everyone's looking out the window trying to see what happened. Dude's face is busted. There's blood all over him. And they got the kid in the shower. And the kid, he's small. Like I said, 18 years old, young kid, baby face. He isn't tatted up or nothing like that. You know what I mean? And what I'm thinking in my head is the old guy must have tried to do something sexual. Because it is very, very common for the older inmates, pretty much any inmate, to prey on the younger inmates, especially the white inmates. Every single time. Almost every boy. A boy is a term in Florida for someone who's basically like under extortion for sex. You know what I mean? You got some that give it up willingly. Those are boys too. You got some that don't give it up willingly. They'll be like in their 20s, at 18, 19. They might have a girlfriend on the street, a wife, kids. But in here, they're forced to tweeze their eyebrows and wear tight pants and obviously perform sexual activities on many people, multiple people. It isn't just one person, especially if you're in confinement. If they know you're a homosexual, damn near every single roommate that you have that's in the room with you is going to try you, is going to try to take that from you, is going to try to force you to do something. That's how they are. Versus if you get someone in your room like me, I won't be in the room with you. If I know that you partake in homosexual activities, I don't want you in my room. That's how a lot of people are rocking, which makes it dangerous for people that are under that type of extortion or for people that are homosexual. Because if you get put in the room with the wrong person, with the gang affiliation, it's mandatory they get you out of the room. And if you're put in the room with someone that likes that type of stuff, but you don't like this person, you don't have an option. If that person's bigger than you, if you can't fight, even if you can fight, you get knocked out, it's over with. So, I mean, that's what I assumed happened between this kid. But the COs came back in. The COs pretty much made an announcement and told everyone, like, oh, this kid's extorting an old man for his food. So, I mean, they were trying to say the old guy told them that this kid was extorting him, taking his state trays, whatever. And a black inmate who didn't have a bunkie at the time volunteered to have the kid get put into his room. And I mean, he's talking crazy. Like, he's telling the God, like, oh, you're gonna give me extra trays if I do this, da da da. And the God is actually going with it because the gods were pissed off. They don't want to do paperwork. They don't want to have to call for backup. They don't want to have to write all this up. It's more work for them. So they wanted to punish the kid. What did they do? They put him in the room with the black guy. So when the COs leave the dorm and the door shuts, the electronic door, all you hear is just the walls just getting torn down. It's an eerie sound in confinement because at times it's so loud you can't think, and then at other times it's so quiet you can hear anything. You know what I mean? They got a Florida saying that the gods used to say, the COs. It'd be like, I want it so quiet I can hear a mouse pissing on cotton. But that's how it was in confinement at times. You could hear anything. And everyone was dead quiet. So we could hear the sounds of this kid getting punished by the dude that he's in the room with. And this black dude was big. He was a big dude. Grown man, like 30s or 40s. You know what I mean? Taking him up through the... I don't know if he got raped. I don't know what happened. I know that he was being extorted. He wasn't eating. And I eventually got out of confinement. This kid got out of confinement. You know what I mean? He had a black eye for a while when he first hit the compounds. And, you know, immediately he was associating with homosexuals. He had a T on his DC number for Tampa. He caught his case in Hillsborough County. And I seen his DC number. I seen him walking around. I seen when he got the little stitches tattooed on his face. You know, you see everybody. You see everybody on the compound. You see who's new. You know who's who. And you do your homework on people. So I just found out that he was a kid from Tampa. He didn't have a lot of time. He had 5 years. And he was just associating with homosexuals. So I assumed he was a boy. You know what I mean? He doesn't get any respect. I didn't know the details of his case until I got out and what had actually happened to him. So this kid, he only had 5 years in prison and he was a burglar. He was just breaking into people's houses. He wasn't a violent felon. He wasn't a sexual predator. He wasn't anything crazy. You know what I mean? But what's crazy is what ended up happening to him. This is what I want y'all to really pay attention to. So this kid, Frederick Patterson III, he went to confinement again at Apalachee CI, and he was put into the cell with the older inmate. The inmate was 45 years old. He had 15 years for a robbery. He had only been in prison for about 1 to 2 years. And he was a booty bandit. He was a sexual predator, which was very common at Apalachee CI. So it's like I said, you know, young white kid, not a big kid. He's already associating with homosexuals. Well, what happens? The older guy tries him. He exposes himself in the cell to the kid. You can't imagine being in positions like these until it actually happens, and then you act on it. And I just want y'all to imagine being locked in a cell with somebody, having them expose themselves, and then tell you you're either gonna fuck or fight. What are you gonna do? And I guarantee everybody's gonna be in the comments like, oh, I'll fight to the death, I'll da 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 da. Listen, there's somebody that will knock you out and do whatever they want to do to you, and you'll wake up and not be able to do anything about it. There's people that will humble you. There's people that you can't beat. Goes for me too. I was lucky enough to never find myself in this position. This kid wasn't that lucky. Dude exposes himself. The kid defends himself. Starts fighting. Push come to shove, he ends up beating the guy to death. He kills him. There's blood everywhere in the cell. He ended up getting charged with a second-degree murder charge. Now, Apalachee Correctional Institution is in Jackson County in Florida. So he was transferred to the Jackson County Jail on a second-degree murder for killing a cellmate that was a sexual predator that exposed himself to him. So for everybody that's like, oh, I'd fight, oh, I fight. When I said there's things that you can do that are irreversible, this is one of those things. He killed him. You ain't waking him back up. He's dead. You know what I'm saying? He tried to fight the case in court. You know, his lawyer was trying to get him off the second-degree murder and get him a manslaughter charge. Didn't work. Gets hit with a life sentence. A life sentence for defending yourself against a sexual predator. That's crazy, right? Like, imagine on the street if someone tried to rape you. A man trying to rape another man. And you kill that man. You're going to feel that you rightfully defended yourself. And I would assume in most courts that they would see eye to eye with that. But because of the fact that he's already in prison, there's no one on his side in prison. There's no cameras inside of the cell. There's no audio. There's no witnesses that's going to help you. The gods are against you. The gods punished you. Now the courts punish you. He ended up getting a life sentence. But not only that, while he was at Jackson County Jail in confinement, they give him another bunkie. This bunkie was in his 80s. An old man from Canada. Not even from Florida. I don't know why he was in Florida and he's from Canada. He should have stayed his ass in Canada. He'd probably be alive to this day. But he came down to Florida. Apparently this guy was in there for trying to get a 9-year-old that just got out of school to get into his car. And, you know, what the kid was saying is that while he was in the cell with this old man, the old man was admitting that he liked kids, he was a sexual predator, he was a child molester, etc., etc. So what did he do? He beat him to death. He beat the old man to death. Beat him down in the cell and left him in a puddle of blood. What's crazy about both of these murders is that he tells the story. He didn't hide it. He told them. In the first case, he told them, this guy exposed himself to me. You know what I mean? This is the option that I had to take because I wasn't going to go the other route. But for you to be put in cells with sexual predators, sex offenders, people that are nowhere near your age, it shouldn't have happened to begin with. You never should have been put in a position where you feel you need to kill somebody to defend yourself. It shouldn't have happened. He shouldn't have had to do what he did. But I don't blame him for doing what he did. I don't blame him for attacking the first guy. And I mean, after he attacked the first guy, he knew he was done. You just caught a body in prison. You're never getting out. You had 5 years, bro. At 18 years old, you had 5 years. Now you never getting out. You know that. So what happens? You get put in a room with another sex offender, and all you're thinking about is you're just like the last guy I was in the room with. You're telling me about the things you do to other people, which is the same shit that this guy just tried to do to me. And now I'm going to lose my life. I'm going to die in a cell because of people like you. So what did he do? He snapped. He snapped and he killed him. He started off with 5 years. He got a life sentence for the first murder. And he's still fighting the second murder to this day. He's facing the death penalty now. This kid might get executed because of this. This kid wasn't a violent kid on the compound. Didn't bother people on the compound. associated with weaker people on the compound, but he's got 2 bodies. He's killed 2 people. And a lot of y'all, make the assumption that, oh, if you're killing people, you're about that life. It doesn't mean nothing. Everybody's got a body in prison. Everybody expects you to catch a body in prison if someone crosses a certain line with you as a man. And that line got crossed with him. The kid got hit with the body. You know what I'm saying? There's no way to fight it. And they got news articles about this exact case. Florida authorities say an inmate who killed his cellmate last month while awaiting trial for killing another cellmate in 2015 is now in solitary confinement. The News Herald reports 21-year-old Frederick Patterson III said he killed his 82-year-old cellmate Arthur Williams on January 15th and told correctional officers that there's one less child molester on the streets. Patterson, a convicted burglar, was sentenced Thursday to life in prison for killing 45-year-old Scott Collinsworth, a convicted robber in the Apalachee Correctional Institution. Patterson now faces a first-degree murder charge. Williams, who allegedly tried to lure a 9-year-old boy into his car, had been ruled incompetent 10 days earlier and was being held in the Jackson County Correctional Facility awaiting transfer to a mental facility. So for y'all that want to talk about punishment, this old-ass man that tried to lure a 9-year-old into his car was going to get sent to one of those daycares for crazy people where they just drug you up on medication and stick you in a day room and you get to play dominoes all day. That's where he was going. The guy that's a predator towards kids. He was going to go to some daycare for psych people. Karma's a bitch though, right? Because he got his ass whacked 10 days before he was going to go to that. It is what it is. This man's in his 20s. He's 2 years younger than me. Already has a life sentence for one body, facing death in the second. This is a wake the fuck up video. This is the type of shit that needs to register in your fucking head to tell you I do not want to go to prison. I don't want to experience the type of bullshit that goes on in prison and deal with these type of things that can happen. Where you gotta catch a body because you have to. Otherwise, you gotta accept doing what another man is forcing you to do. It's crazy. I hope y'all are able to learn from this. I hope y'all are able to understand the message I'm trying to deliver behind this video by telling you about what happened to this kid. Same thing could have happened to me. I could have had someone put in my room. We have a disagreement. We fight. That person dies. I'm never getting out again. That's how easy it is for these things to happen. And just imagine if it was on the street. Imagine if another man tried to rape you on the street and you killed that man in self-defense. You would never think you're going to prison for that. But because this kid is already in prison and did that in self-defense, you already got the gods against you. You're not going to win in court. You just lost your life over someone else doing something to you or trying to do something to you. And you should have never been in the cell with them to begin with. You should have never been in the cell with someone that much older than you, that has that much more time than you. He had 5, the other dude had 15. Why are they in the room together? Shouldn't have happened, man. I hope y'all able to learn from this video. Like, subscribe. Y'all already know what time it is. Y'all rocking with me. I'm rocking with y'all. Till next time.